Hello, and welcome to our Wellbeing at Work podcast series. My name is Bianca Bowie, and I am the Ambassador Program Manager at Workplace Options. I'm pleased to announce this podcast series called The Peer Approach to Supporting Workplace Wellbeing, which will feature various subject matter experts. This series was created to highlight the Wellbeing Ambassador Program, what it is, what it takes to implement one successfully in an organization, and some case stories. Some of the guests we will feature will include individuals who have helped create the program, have clients who have utilized the program, and trainers who have facilitated the program. In today's episode, I have the pleasure of welcoming David Stace, Director of Clinical Policy and Best Practice, and James Jakeman, Director of Account Management, UK, UAE, and Portugal at Workplace Options. David and James have extensive experience in helping global organizations across diverse industries, from engineering to telecommunications, implement the Wellbeing Ambassador Program. Both David and James have been pivotal in the Ambassador Program and collaborating with clients to tailor the program to their specific organizational needs. David and James, hello, and thanks for joining us.
Hello, Bianca. My pleasure.
Hi, Bianca.
Well, certain organizations may refer to ambassadors as an ally, champion, or coach. However, WPO uses the name Wellbeing Ambassadors. David, when we talk about a Wellbeing Ambassador Program, what is it essentially?
Yeah, it's all about focusing on mental health. And whether you call it mental health ambassadors, wellbeing ambassadors, it really does depend on the focus of the organisation and what they want to get across in their organisation. My personal opinion is that wellbeing ambassador is the optimal term. When you start talking about mental health, you're then connecting it to maybe unwellness rather than the wellness side of things, which is why we focus on well-being. And to really put it at the top of the agenda in the way that the company supports the well-being of everyone who works within their organisation.
So both David and James, can you explain your involvements in the program and some of your background?
Yeah, of course. So I've been in at the inception. I believe that we started around about 2019 with some of the programs that we were developing, and been involved with very large companies who were wanting to focus on how they were supporting their staff in well-being and requesting us to carry out, let's say, an awareness program around mental health well-being. And it developed out of that and the suggestion that, well, why don't you have people within your organisation who really do advocate for mental health on an ongoing basis, rather than just operate a training program which then has a start point and an end point, and then there's no follow through from the end point, but to have an ongoing well-being aware program, which is the Wellbeing Ambassadors Program. So I've been involved in interviewing members of staff around their awareness of mental health, whether they would be appropriate for being a wellbeing ambassador, selecting wellbeing ambassadors for organisations, and then running training programs over 2 days, sometimes with a direct training program or a blended learning situation where there's direct training together with asynchronous e-learning training, and then following that up with regular awareness groups and support groups of wellbeing ambassadors, so that they really do feel comfortable in the role going forward, that they're recognised for being the advocates of mental health within the organisation, and that they're there to support and ensuring that people are getting the right level of support, irrespective of what the challenges of individual organisations might be. And very often the organisations that I've supported have been large, fast-moving, complex organisations where the cognitive challenge is really quite high and the level of stress, therefore, potentially also high. Therefore, there being very high psychosocial risk. So this is a way of really putting mental health and well-being on the map within your organization, and seeing it through.
And what about you, James?
So I've been with WPO for 7 years now. And in my role, I'm managing a team of account managers and also managing my own clients. And I've definitely seen a change over those 7 years. So when COVID hit, there was a definite change from our clients, that them starting to see more and more that well-being and mental health is really crucial. It's something that needs to be addressed and worked on and visible in the workplace. And for me, my involvement in the Wellbeing Ambassador program started to come in about then. So, companies seeing employees struggle more, wanting to take more action and putting those support programs in place. So when I'm having my conversations with clients, and obviously they have support programs in place with EAPs and standard trainings and things like that, but more and more they're looking to what can we have in the workplace that's visible, that people can go to every day, that they feel comfortable going to, and have that support in place. Because we know that a lot of people, prefer to go to a colleague, they're struggling, prefer to go to family and friends. So if they can have something in the workplace where people are trained up, their colleagues know that they can have good conversations, difficult conversations, and it's not just about talking the talk. Companies are walking the walk now. They are doing this, they're fully invested in it, and it's making a big difference to the workplace, the environment, the culture, and employees feeling more and more supported. So my involvement has really started having those conversations with clients. What are they looking to get out of it? How can we best deliver what it is they need and what they look for, and bringing in the subject matter experts like David and others in our departments and teams to really get the most out of these programs and set the client up for success.
Thank you both for that. David, can you explain and discuss the multi-pronged approach of WPO's Wellbeing Ambassador program and the different components?
Yeah, of course. I mean, this program really is all about embedding awareness around well-being and mental health, and maintaining good mental health. So it's all about assisting companies to identify who might be able to represent and advocate for that on a long-term basis, helping them with screening, then also in designing bespoke training in respect of what content mental health ambassadors or well-being ambassadors have as a guide. We also develop a playbook for them as part of the training. There's very often asynchronous training on e-learning, and also continued help and support via Wellbeing Ambassador monthly meets, where each of the Wellbeing Ambassadors get together and share their experiences in a confidential way, so that they're not revealing any identity of those people that they've supported in the previous month, but also supporting them in gaining confidence in advocating for mental health and wellness and awareness across the organisation, and also being able to support on a day-to-day basis. So we're talking about giving them basic listening skills. We look at empathy. We look at communication skills. In our experience of doing this, then really there is a kind of low sense at the beginning of how you might support. So we use case studies as part of that process, and role plays, so that people begin to feel confident around supporting on these issues. And of course, also to safeguard against some of the greatest psychosocial risks that you could imagine, and the possibility that somebody may harm themselves due to the stress that they might be experiencing at work, and what to do if somebody discloses that might be a possibility. So it really is putting in place safety procedures, and it's also accredited through the International Institute of Risk and Safety Management as well. So it's credited, unlike a mental health first aid training program, which is a little bit like a kind of nice candy to have. You have an idea of raising mental health and awareness around mental health. You deliver the training, everybody enjoys the training, they go away from the training, and then everybody returns back to normal. This is a real way of embedding wellness and mental health within the very constructs of the way that organizations work and thrive. Such programs really do help to create that safety, that zone of safety, psychosocial safety within the organization, that people feel more relaxed about the pressures that they might be experiencing in the jobs that they're holding.
And David, I heard you mention that the ambassador program is accredited by IIRSM, unlike the mental health first aid training program. Are there any other differences between the two?
Well, I think I kind of have mentioned them because really we're talking about long-termism versus a short-term intervention. So as James said, it's really walking the talk. It's rather than playing lip service to mental health and well-being and awareness. It's all about embedding a positive attitude towards our own feeling of psychosocial safety within the workplace. Whereas mental health first aid training is a result in the moment and then to be perhaps forgotten. And the ambassadors that we train, they become advocates. In our research and feedback that we get, sometimes we do a pre-survey before we implement a ambassador program. And the feedback that we get is that rather than go to managers and leaders or HR, is that people prefer to go to their colleagues in order to share what might be troubling them. So when we're delivering the training for the ambassadors, we make it clear what the role is of the manager, the ambassadors, then critical in maybe helping that manager-colleague relationship to improving that by being consultative together with them, but also then being a real route that people can go, that they feel if they need to talk things over, there is somebody available in order to talk about it. And, a problem shared is really a problem halved. And that representative is there. They know everything about confidentiality. They know that if the member of staff is also having difficulties, that there are circumstances where they would suggest to them that help needs to be at hand and that maybe they need to move forward together with them in order to get them the help that they need, be that through their EAP or be that through HR, be that through a doctor, company doctor, or other services. Then, it's a real permanent living thing that is within an organisation and maintained through the regular groups that we have and install going forward for the clients that use this model in order to really advocate for mental health and well-being.
Thank you, David. James, why is a well-being ambassador program important to an overall well-being strategy?
It's important for many reasons. As David mentioned before, through our psychosocial risk assessments, one of the questions we ask employees is, who are they likely to turn to if they were experiencing a mental health problem? There's the options of family, friends, co-worker, manager, HR, EAP, and more often than not, the top two are family and friends and colleague. So we know that they're more likely to go to a colleague when they need help. So if we can train up those colleagues to be able to have those difficult conversations, to help people when they're under stress, when they're anxious, when they need help, it's creating that environment where employees feel safe to go and speak to somebody, and the person they're speaking to can really help them because they've been through that accredited training. It's also showing them as well, because when we're training up these ambassadors, we're training up a certain number of ambassadors within a certain country, within a certain location. So, it's not just somebody distant, far away. There should be a group of ambassadors within, a business unit, a group, whatever it may be. So there should be multiple people. You see it on their email footers. I'm a Wellbeing ambassador. You see they may have different coloured lanyards. So it's making a very visible presence of those Wellbeing ambassadors, creating the sense that well-being is important. It's in a lot of places. I see it throughout the day that this company that I work for cares about well-being. They've invested a lot of money and time into these well-being ambassadors to ultimately help me and my colleagues. We're also seeing more and more within the EAP industry. Historically, we've predominantly worked with HR, but also, other departments such as health and safety and comp and bens and other departments. But we're seeing more and more now that we're working directly in the account management department with wellbeing ambassadors. So those wellbeing ambassadors are our key people that we connect with on a daily basis in different countries, different business units. And they're the ones that are having those conversations with employees, really gauging the temperature, what's going on, what's actually needed. Could it be that we could do with the training on this, or we could do with support on this particular topic? And we're linking in with them to support them with that. It could be raising awareness about the EAP, raising awareness about a certain issue, celebrating an International Awareness Day, whatever it is. So we're directly working with them now. So the whole pool of mental health champions, ambassadors, people involved in well-being is increasing and increasing. And that's only a good thing for people in the workplace. They see that presence is more visible, and they're more likely to reach out for help and support when they do have an issue. We mentioned it as well. It isn't just now companies talking the talk, they're actually walking the walk. So companies are investing in it, and they are seeing a difference. The clients that I have that are going through this training, doing the psychosocial risk assessments, doing the ongoing support, they are seeing a difference. They are seeing a change in the culture, change in the mindset, and ultimately, a change in how mental health is talked about. Reducing that stigma, which is still very much present, globally, and more so in some countries more than others. But it's about reducing that stigma and making it something that people feel happy and comfortable to talk about, and then, when they are experiencing it, that they can go to people who know what they're doing.
And James, what are some of the challenges that an organization might encounter when they are implementing a Wellbeing Ambassador program within their organization?
Talking from experience with the clients that I've worked with, some of the challenges have been getting volunteers to sign up for it. So we have with many clients that HR go through this training, but we also want and know that they need to come from different areas of the workforce. They need to come from varying levels of seniority, varying tenures, to really get that wellbeing ambassador to reflect the workforce. So getting people to sign up for it can be a challenge. We obviously can't force it upon them, so it needs to be a voluntary thing. So within some, it can be a bit of a challenge. We have seen that, but on the whole, it's a really good interest level and uptake with it. It is a commitment though. So obviously people are going to have their normal jobs, their day-to-day roles and responsibilities. So this is in addition to it. So it really needs to be people who are passionate about mental health, passionate about making a difference in the workforce, passionate about well-being. So when they put forward their interest in it, a lot of times we do interviews with them, with our counsellors, just to make sure that obviously, they are going to be suitable for this role. And they're not going through things themselves where maybe they're not in the best place to be supporting others. So that is another part, and we do explain to them as well, what's expected of them should they go through this. So that can sometimes deter people that, they can sometimes see it as a lot of work. So those are a few of the challenges. And then the other one that David mentioned there as well is obviously this training is very comprehensive. But if they've never had those conversations before, it can be a little bit daunting. So it's about giving them enough practice that they feel confident and comfortable to really go out there and have those conversations, to be able to support and take a lead on it, really lead with the well-being. So those ongoing sessions that are available as well, where we do case studies, role plays to really build up people's confidence is really important. And I suppose that the last one that comes to mind is having the infrastructure in place within the organization. So you may have employees go through this training, but if there's no infrastructure set up within the company where they can thrive in the role of ambassador, are there the platforms there? Are they going to be able to be given enough time and exposure to be able to really get that message out there and show that the ambassadors are visible and here to help? So that it's really important there is that structure in place within the organisation for these ambassadors to do their roles.
Thank you, David and James, for both of your times today. For our listeners, to learn more about the Wellbeing Ambassador Program, please visit consulting.workplaceoptions.com, or you can email us directly at WPO Global Consulting at workplaceoptions.com. Until next time, take care.